Hey, this Omar. Um, on here real quick, just to talk about the Monday night game between the Raiders and the Chiefs, and it was a good game. You know what I'm saying? A good. It was a good AFC battle, and the Chiefs, they somehow found a way to get the win. You know what I'm saying? Raiders played a good enough game to win. They just um the 2 point conversion, it could have went either way, you know what I'm saying? I ain't mad at the call, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they could have tried a one-on-one with Devontae Adams, but you know what I'm saying, Jacobs was killing it too. So, they thought that play might have been, you know what I'm saying, like the play that could sneak up in there and get the two. But overall, they played a solid game. You know what I'm saying? Like I could see the Raiders, their offense is coming together as far as the running game, and they adapting to the new system. So David Carr, he had a good game. He had 19. He was 19 to 30, 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and had a good passer rating of 110. He played an outstanding game. You know what I'm saying? You ain't mad at that game at all. Jacobs, he followed up last week's performance with another strong game, and you can see now he's running hard to try to get that money. You know what I'm saying? And so he came in with 21 carries for 154 yards, one touchdown. 37 was his longest, and he was just, you could see running hard. This is some of his best running he's done had since his rookie season. And like I said, I'm a Chargers fan, so I seen like the past few years he kind of been hurt, and he ain't really showed his best, and that's probably why they didn't give him that. They didn't pick up his option. But as a team, they had 24 carries you know um for 155 yards, and so that's solid. A solid running game. But shit, Jacobs was the main one running the ball. They ain't really give him too much rest and rotate the backups, and he kind of was just the workhorse today. Devontae Adams, he had a monster game. He had three catches, 124 yards and two touchdowns. 58 was his longest, and he did that on 7 targets. The I guess the crazy thing about it was once I guess Waller wasn't in the game because he was hurt. I'm surprised he didn't. He got 7 targets and he was killing it. He kind of had a mismatch. The dude who was checking him, I think it was I want to say Fulton or Felton, one of the young dudes that was checking him. I think one of the rookies, he couldn't stick with Adams, so it's like they could have just featured him more. I was surprised at that, but I mean 7 targets is a lot of targets, even though he caught three. I guess he could have had double digits, but they were trying to they had a flow. You know what I'm saying? Like running the game, running the ball as well as throwing. So it's like they was not, not trying to have one more than the other. So they was trying to be as balanced as possible. Other people chiming. Jacobs had 5 catches, 39 yards, and he caught five on 5 targets, and Bolden had 3 for 29 and on 3 targets. Renfro, he came back from the concussion he suffered versus the Cardinals, and he had 4 targets and he caught 4 for 25. So I mean, it was like well, he don't Carl only had 241, so it's like aside from Adams, who kind of put his imprint in the game, it was just pretty much Adams and Jacobs that was really the offense today. And so you look at their defense, they had 2 sacks. Max Crosby, that dude, his engine stayed going, and he's always a problem for anybody's left tackle or right tackle, whichever side he line up on. And altogether they had three sacks, and they didn't have no turnovers. And so, they played with a lot of energy, definitely in the first half, but in the second half, the game, it changed up. They was up on them by 17 points. And so, Kansas City walked them down. They got a thing where, you got to keep scoring on them. We was up on them the same way. We was up on them by 17 and they walked us down. So it's like you can't really let up. You got to just keep going and going. And your defense definitely can't get tired against them, or you're going to get killed. Mahomes, he had a great game. You know what I'm saying? He had 29 completions, 43 attempts, 292 yards, 4 touchdowns, a pass rating of 117.6. Running the ball as a team, they had 103. And I mean, they so hard to gauge, because last week they was featuring, I guess, the young dude named Pachesio. I think that's how you say his name. But they featured him more, and he definitely got potential. But this week, I mean, he only ran the ball one time. McKinnon, he kind of was, a non-factor. And then the game they decided to give him some touches. So he had 8 carries for 53. He had a 30 yarder that was his longest. So he really didn't do too much as far as running the ball. Mahomes did 4 carries for 28. And Edwards-Helaire, he ain't really do shit. He only had 9 carries for 15 yards. So I guess with them, if they get 100 on the dot or better, that's a successful running day for them. And so receiving the ball, they started getting some people involved. Valdez-Scantling, he had six for 90 on 8 targets. Hardman, he had 4 for 73 on 5 targets. And Juju kind of been the one that they had was getting it going, but he came into the game with an injury, so I don't know whether that might have played a part into why he wasn't really he didn't really have a good game. He only had 3 for 33 on 8 targets, so he was trying to get him the ball, and he even missed some, or they were not catchable. Now, Kelce, he came in, he had 4 touchdowns, but kind of everything was at the goal line. So what was crazy when you watching it, you wondering like why the Raiders didn't, like just have people just double him. You see, close to the goal line, that's who they trying to get a ball to. So why don't you make him go to his second read, or maybe he did go to a second and third read and just came back to Kelce, because Kelce always gonna find a space, and he good at spacing and finding positions where he can catch the ball. And so he caught 4 touchdowns but only had 25 yards. So I mean, the touchdowns make it like he impacted the game, but as far as yards, he really wasn't doing too much between the numbers. But yeah, he had a good game. I mean, how you gonna beat them? You gonna have to have a safety that can be physical with him, and that have great cover skills. And there's not too many teams that have a safety that could do that, or at least a linebacker that has that can stick with him. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have nobody like that, he gonna just do like he did. He's just gonna be in the goal line. He just gonna do what he did. 4 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns plus. He's capable of doing that week to week. So defensive wise, they had 2 sacks. Frank Clark guy had a half a sack. Some guy called, let me see his name, Carl Loftus. Never heard of him. He a backup, I guess. He got a half a sack. And then who else? And then I guess Harris, somebody named Harris, also got a sack. So they didn't get any turnovers. So I mean, the game was a back and forth, and like I said, KC had to play catch up. So um, I made one big mistake when I was predicting for the season that I thought Dalton Schultz or Kyle Pitts was going to be a top tight end over Kelsey, and I was so far I'm dead wrong on that. You know what I'm saying? Kelsey Eaton, and not too many teams have been stopping him from finding the end zone. The only team that did that was the Chargers. But aside from that, nobody kind of been stopping them from getting in the end zone. And it sets up a good matchup, a good early season matchup between KC and Buffalo. That should be a good game. Two top teams that should, be battling as far as a right to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. So it's a great early season matchup. So, they're going to go to them on a short week, or they're gonna face them on a short week. So it should be a good game. But overall, KC, now that's 2 games they got in the division, and so they beat the Raiders, beat the Raiders, and beat the Chargers, and so they looking good though. They hot, and like I said, if you're not gonna be physical with them, like how the Colts are, you're gonna have a hard time beating them, because they like the old Patriots team, where even though they down, they still feel that they in the game as long as they got time on the clock. And so like today they showed you, like they did versus the Chargers, they going to just keep coming. So that, like I said, it was a good game though. I liked it. I enjoyed it. A good AFC West battle. And next week is gonna be another one. But I'm looking forward to the KC and Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna see which mismatches each team can try to exploit. You know, um, Diggs and Josh Allen, and just the Buffalo offense definitely gonna have some matchups that they definitely can exploit on KC's defense, and KC's gonna do the same. As long as they can hold up versus the pass rush, they should have some mismatches on a inexperienced secondary, but the secondary has been getting better though. Each week, even though they're inexperienced, the Buffalo secondary. So it should be a great game. Everybody gonna probably be tuned into that game for sure. So yeah, that's just my quick thoughts on the Monday night game. All right, thanks for listening.